issue around SaaS, I think, is a big one, Alex, that we should discuss. And there was, this something is happening post from a couple of weeks ago, a video I did with the Bulwark where I said, listen, I think Amazon employees are all gone by 2030, 2035. And then this one came out, which is titled
the 2028 Global Intelligence Crisis from our dear friends at Citrini Research.
Yeah. So, their basic premise is around SaaS, and they're basically saying, hey, when people got on the calls with their SaaS salesperson, they were asking for the standard 5% increase in cost. And the CFO, who was working with the CTO, said, hey, we love your software, but we're thinking about spinning up our own, which we can do with our frontline developers. Therefore, we'll keep your software, but we want a 30% discount.
There you go.
And they make the meta point that all these companies then cut headcount, start using AI tools to make, let's say Salesforce or Asana, I think they used. Let's make Asana, let's make Salesforce more efficient as a company. And in the short term, their profits went up. But in the long term, they fed the AI how to build their software, where I think they kind of imply this, I kind of read into it, that the more you use these tools and the better they get, and the more you invest in them, the more you accelerate the compression of profitability of software. Does that make sense, Alex? Am I explaining it correctly? It's like super deflationary.
It's super deflationary because one thing people forget is that SaaS was super popular for a couple of reasons. One, it was recurring, yes, but also people hired more people over time. And so you would sell more seats and you could raise prices. And what that did was give SaaS companies a really beautiful tailwind, Jason. It meant that you could invest today, a flywheel even. You can invest today in sales and marketing, burn some cash, but who cares? Because you know that contract will grow by 10, 15% every year. And so the money always made sense. But the moment you start moving that number down, suddenly your CAC looks terrifying. Suddenly you're worried about your marketing efficiency. Suddenly you can't count on your revenue the way you could. And SaaS is not durable in that context. It's a sponge you can squish. And the thing that I like about this piece, Jason, from Citrini, is that it's not doomer in that, AI will fail or OpenClaude's, a hype fad or whatever. But instead it's like, what if it all goes right? What if AI is powerful? What if it is as strong as we think? And I think more people should be thinking about that.
Jeff, you seem like you want to get in on this discussion.
Oh yeah. So I've actually been thinking, I have two SaaS businesses that I built, the Who Covers It and the Wizard RFP. And essentially I've been thinking about, well, now I got to agentify them. I got to figure out a way to make them so that way agents, like another agency's agents, can talk to them and just basically work through the whole process in a couple of chat messages, as opposed to traditional kind of click here type of few things, hit a button, wait a second, and then it loads. That's just not going to cut it anymore. And I think as more people start moving towards this environment where, like, I think about computing, how it's evolved, and it's crazy because we were point and click and type for a while. Now we're tap on a screen where we're, and now we've actually compressed our entire computing environment into just a chat message now. Like we used to be in every different apps, Windows, things like that. One of the big complaints for the iPhone originally, I think, and still to this day, is that it's not good at multitasking, really. Same with the iPad, but now it doesn't really matter because we're all living in one window. So
I remember when my parents, they had a small business and they upgraded their office suite from I don't know, from 2003 to 2007. And they introduced the ribbon interface and they were freaking out because they'd used Word in one way for their entire life and they couldn't take the change to where their buttons were. What a silly conversation today, because we don't need an interface the way we used to. People talk about how apps are, going away, everything's going to become atomized. But I think the phrase agentify your SaaS is going to be a little clunky phrase there, Jeff, but I like it. I think that's going to become a theme for 2026.
For small businesses, every hire matters, but you've got limited time and resources to spend on growing your team. That's why there's LinkedIn Hiring Pro, your trusted partner for zeroing in on the right candidates right away. Finding a great person is so hard. You need a trusted partner like LinkedIn, where there are 1 billion members. And for founders, sometimes hiring becomes a full-time job on its own. And any founder who has spent days doing interviews with candidates knows how valuable it would be to just skip the line and only have to meet with the best possible applicants. That's where LinkedIn Hiring Pro can streamline your entire process. Nearly 60% of hires find a candidate to interview in their first week. And hiring the wrong person not only wastes a ton of your valuable time, but it's going to impact morale at your company. You know that. They become a total drain on the entire team. We spent weeks hiring a new editor for the pod. We rearranged our entire production team, and they quit on the first day. Oh, it wasn't a match. We should have trusted LinkedIn Jobs, and we did. And now we have a great editor who is dialed in. So hire right the first time. Post your first job and get $100 off towards your post at linkedin.com/hiring pro offer. That's linkedin.com/hiring pro offer. Terms and conditions do apply.